Welcome, my friends and enemies. Glad you are here. This one's a bit of a different video considering it is based around more news things than I typically do, like topics. I guess you could call this a topic of at least something that caught my attention. Not many people talk about it, although to be fair, it's been something kind of talked about, and we'll get into that later on in this video. But um, for those who are not aware or have not followed along with the story, basically Disney came out and said that they were going to make a Snow White live adaptation. Now, the Snow White live adaptation was not received well because of a lot of things. First and foremost, Rachel Zegler doesn't look a thing like Snow White, but that's who they picked, and it's like, okay, whatever. And then they started showing, well, not really showing, some images got leaked, let's be honest. And those leaked images essentially took, not a turn for the worse, but it had not really exaggerated, but definitely boosted the leak theories that were out there, like them changing everything where they weren't going to use dwarves to play the seven dwarfs, and they were going to go into more of a modern take on it. And as you all know, I definitely love modern takes a lot. Not at all, but be as it may. Rachel Zegler came out and started talking about how basically Snow White's not a princess who needs to be saved. Gal Gadot also pitched in for that one. And basically that it's about her achieving power and this and that. And I don't know why they're doing this story if it's literally not the story, because it's like, we're going to do Snow White, but not make it Snow White. So the evil queen, who in this case has nothing to worry about in cases of looks, Snow White, whose skin is not Snow White, which is literally the point of that tale. Okay. There aren't seven dwarves in it, but there are going to be seven dwarves, but they're not really dwarves because of the size of Rachel Zegler. So that doesn't make much sense. Oh, and they're all completely CGI and look ridiculous. Um, and then there's also going to be some bandits, and then there's going to be like a bandit prince and a whole bunch of weird stuff that they're throwing around and whatever. It's just some days I can't even. But be as it may, not everyone's taken very kindly to this particular news. And in response, Disney kind of pushed back the date of the release. I think it's 2025, maybe at this point, like a whole year. And that might be helpful, that might not be helpful, who knows. But on top of that, you got even more news with the Daily Wire, which not everyone likes, not everyone hates. It's kind of, it's whatever you feel about it is however you feel about it. This is not a political commentation on this. This is more of a cultural war type thing. So, Daily Wire announced that they were going to do Snow White and Evil Queen, and they were going to make a true to the story, you know, movie. And this movie is going to have Brett Cooper, who's one of the Daily Wire co-hosts, or not co-host, hosts on, has her own show, I believe. And basically she's going to play, because I believe they said something about her having a past in acting before she became a host there, and she's going to play Snow White. That's going to be a little bit different of a Snow White. She's not going to have short cropped hair, I don't believe. I think she's having like long hair. And they're going to stick more to the classical style. So how that will go out, who knows? They've made a couple of movies, Terror on the Prairie. This is the only one I'm really familiar with besides like Run, Hide, Fight, but I believe that one's only published by them. It wasn't made by them. And they have a couple movies under their belts, but they're obviously, they don't have the kind of monetary income that like Netflix, Disney, Warner Bros., well, anyone in the major fields are going to have. So basically, they are just trying to do some pushback to Disney. And along with this, well, I guess they I don't want to say hit the news, but Ben Shapiro, one of the, I guess, 2 or 3 owners of Daily Wire, recently went on Critical Drinkers video for like an interview kind of a thing. And there's about 6 minute, 7 minute video. It's a nifty little video if you want to go hear some details. Critical Drinker got an in-person interview with Ben Shapiro, so I'm assuming Drinker was in America at the time when he did it. I'm not sure, but they're in the same room. The sound quality is a little weird. They both have a mic, but it's like one ear and the other ear. It's going to be a little weird, but that's how it happened. So, check it out. It's a fun little conversation between the two. Critical Drinker has a lot of fun videos and a lot of good takes. This one's just one of the good takes. Like, it's not really like fun, but it's more of like poking the bear at Disney because Disney's just screwing up everything as of recent days, years, months, seconds, hours. You pick a time zone, it's pretty much in that time zone. In the last 10 years, 10, 15 years, probably more closer to 10 years, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it's interesting that this is a thing that's happened. I'd never thought I'd see these two guys in the room with each other, but here we are. And Ben came in to talk about their other product, which I will have brought up here. And I'm going to actually switch the style. And this new Netflix-ish type thing called Bent Key. It's literally, the BK is a bent key. I don't know the purpose behind this. It's an interesting take, let's say. But it's supposed to be kind of the Disney Plus, more aimed at kids, from what I understand, that counters Disney Plus's woke nonsense and politics and whatnot while still having some decent content. And they talk about this in the video between Drinker and Ben Shapiro. But I wanted to kind of show this is kind of what they're going with, because a lot of people have had potential misgivings. I don't know if it is a misgiving or not. They've had concerns. Let's put it that way. They've had concerns. And they're worried that basically Daily Wire is going to create a right-wing political framework of a Disney Plus kind of show to be the antithesis to Disney Plus, and in that way just basically try to shove people into this right-wing box. That's kind of what people are worried about. But as you can see here, there's a couple of these that look pretty tame, like pretty, like, it'd be weird to hear anything of any types political in these, but you got like truck games, what it's literally just like paper mache trucks or whatever, maybe 3D. I know this Chipchilla is supposed to be, I guess, the Bluey knockoff or alternative or something like that, so people can enjoy Bluey without having to go to Disney Plus. I think Ruins is just Runes is supposed to be just a fun little fantasy thing for young teens or something like that. I don't know. I've not seen any of these. I don't have an account with Daily Wire or Bent Key or anything, but there's a bunch of different varieties of things, whether they be stories, and it's supposedly something that if you watch the interview with Daily Wire's Ben Shapiro and Critical Drinker, it's supposed to be something that Ben says that himself and the people at Daily Wire, it's content that they would feel safe with their kid watching, which is kind of, I mean, that is not kind of good. It is a good thing, but at the same time, it's kind of worrisome because most people are going to look at it and say, oh, it's all just right-wing propaganda. Well, is it? I don't know. I don't have the account. So if you have an account and you're like, yeah, it's completely filled with right-wing propaganda, drop it out in the comments and let people know. If you have it and it's not, and it's just normal, simple, stupid fun, drop it out also down in the comments. If it's completely far off the rails left wing, highly doubted, but if it is, drop it down in the comments. We'll all have a good laugh, I suppose. But yeah, there's some semblance of this becoming a new, I don't want to say alternative, because this has the potential to turn into a pure flick situation where it's just horribly made content and people make fun of it because it's horribly made content. But since Run, Hide, Fight and Terror on the Prairie and those kind of movies, from what I understand, were well made, it's unlikely they'll be just completely trash. That being said, again, I haven't seen them. Yeah, so who knows what this could turn into, but it could be a complete success or a complete disaster or somewhere in the middle. Drinker seems to think that this might be a very positive thing on culture, which I can see. If it's not just propaganda and if it's just good old plain old kid fun, I think this could be very, very good for not just kids, but also adults who want to have something to entertain their kids without getting random stuff shoved down their kids' throats. There's a lot of stuff, if you go on Disney Plus, there's a lot of content that you might find questionable for your child and you don't want them to see. Well, if that's the case, I doubt you're going to have that problem with Bent Key. Seems appearances wise that several people in Daily Wire have kids. I know, shocker, right? People have kids. And they seem to be more on the conservative side. So like not really going out there with the sexualization of children, not really going out there with the adult topics in the content because it's not something your kid needs to explore at this age, you know, anywhere from toddler to preteen, I'm assuming, or maybe even teen. It's not something that they necessarily need to be in the know of. So this looks like it's supposed to be something that is pushing away from that word. It's going to be fun, family friendly. Is it? I do not know. So once again, leave a comment if you are familiar with this content and you know what it is like. Because it could be really, really good stuff. It could be kind of stupid stuff. It could be a whole bunch of different things. But be as it may, we'll have to find out. So I guess that's really all for this particular video. I just wanted to let you guys know. Feel free to check out Critical Drinker's video in his interview with Ben Shapiro. I'll put that link down in the description below. And also, I'll leave a link to Bent Key if you want to check it out. I don't know if they have free trials. I don't know what they got. Probably don't. I don't think most streamers do. But you might be able, I think you can also watch clips of them, like things like Chipchilla or something on YouTube or samples, any place that has like videos or whatever. So feel free to check that out and just let me know what you guys think. Does it seem just silly? Does it seem wholesome? Does it seem propaganda? Whatever it might be. Let me know so I can look into more content like this of just newsworthy stuff for people to check out. So thanks everybody. And remember, walk in the light, my friends.